For more analysis now, let's bring in Nick Holsworth, our former Moscow correspondent who's now based in London. Nick, thank you for joining us. We've gotten such conflicting versions from all sides on what happened in Belgorod. Which side to you seems to be closest to the truth?
Well, it would seem that what Ilya Ponomarev has just said is probably close to the truth. From what I understand from the research that I've been able to do, it's clear that there are these groups. The Freedom of Russia Legion was apparently founded in March 2022, just after Russia invaded Ukraine. It's really not had a very clear presence yet. That and the other group, the Russian Volunteer Corps, have both been said to have been part of the Ukrainian international forces. They have fought in limited engagements, I understand, under Ukrainian command. They're very well equipped. Some of the armored vehicles they were driving appear to be American equipment that has been given to the Ukrainians. Russian media has already noted this. I would say that, although Kiev denies it, I would say that this probably was organized by Kiev as part of a softening up operation, a distraction on the Russian border before the Ukrainian counteroffensive that we're all expecting. Certainly the Russians have been badly rattled, and this morning the Russian Defense Minister, Sergei Shoigu, has said that any further attacks on Russian soil would be treated extremely harshly. It's interesting that Ponomarev says that none of the Russian group's men were lost in that attack, although Moscow is claiming that they killed 70 and destroyed several vehicles as well.
So, Nick, as you mentioned, the defense minister of Russia did say that Russia would react on those attacks in what he said, pretty tough manner. What does that mean exactly? What kind of reaction can we expect?
Well, one could expect that the Russian military would actually start putting more troops onto the border, putting artillery units there, perhaps concentrating on aircraft there as well, all of which would serve Kiev's purposes very well, because if that takes away forces facing them on the main battlefield in eastern Ukraine, that will suit them very well when it comes to that counteroffensive. It's interesting looking at these groups. I've seen a couple of references to people who are members of them. Apparently, there's a former vice chairman of Gazprom Bank, which is a major Russian bank, Ukrainian-born Igor Volobayev, who is a member of the Freedom of Russia League. And just this morning I saw on social media from Yevgeny Kiselev, who used to be a major TV personality in Russia, based in Ukraine now for some years, saying that one of the people involved in that raid is Ilya Bogdanov, who's a former Russian FSB security force officer who defected to Ukraine in 2014 when the Crimea was taken over by Russia. Apparently, he was involved. Now, I think if Kiselev is mentioning somebody who was involved, he's not going to be talking about somebody who was killed in that raid. Presumably, that character came back alive. So it's very interesting who's involved and how this is, I would think, being used by Kiev to just put Russia on the back foot and really some instability to the public opinion in Russia at the moment.
Nick, thank you for that. France 24's Nick Holsworth, our former Moscow correspondent.